Hey Mark, how you doing? Welcome. What do you mean?
Reactor.
Welcome to? Just hi. I think I'm going to stop
Well,
saying welcome to. Welcome to React. That's
yeah,
dumb. I'm just going to say hey, hi.
so good. Yeah. What's up? How's it going?
It's going okay. Yeah, all sorts of things to report. But I'd love to hear from you first. Like I know you've had an interesting week, so I'd love to hear about that.
Yeah. So gosh, it's still the same stuff. It's still like Visa. It's still I have banking. Like that's good. Don't have a lot of money in the bank account, but the account is functional, which is obviously a huge burden off my shoulders. Let's see. My entrepreneur visa looks like all is good, and that's not super easy to get right now. So I'm glad about that. Turns out, in order to turn that into a resident card, which has to be done within 15 days of getting the entrepreneur visa, I had to submit some other paperwork, including a lease. And the lease that I'm on has already expired, and I've just been going month to month with the landlord since then. It's fairly common in Taiwan, actually. A lot of times they'll just sign one for a year, and then after the year is up, you don't have to stay another year exactly. You just go month to month and have to give 2 months notice. Um, I didn't have that, so I had to get the lease. Like I had to get a new lease, and I'm kind of in a hurry. Like I didn't want to wait till the day where I pay rent, so I had to scramble and work something out with my landlady, and also I don't want to stay a whole another year in this apartment. I was going to move into a little bit nicer place in a few months, so there was some stress around that. But I have the lease and I have all the paperwork I need. So hopefully, when I go in on Friday morning to turn in my submission, all is good. And 3 or 4 weeks after that, I will have a resident card in Taiwan again.
Good luck. I really hope that
Yeah,
works out for you.
me too. Although I think there may just not be flights back to the U.S. If things keep going the way they are,
Yeah.
because I think all the longer haul travel, especially from Taiwan, it's just like not being done. Like you could still go to Japan really easily, or um, maybe Singapore, some other like fairly nearby places, but like cross Pacific, I don't know.
Well, that's very cool. It certainly sounds hopeful. So you're sort
Yeah,
of I'm getting the sense from your voice you're frustrated. It's like it's a pain in the ass,
yeah,
but
yeah,
it feels like it's going in the right direction.
yeah, for sure. I think it's like 99% sure at this point. I think as long as nothing really weird happens, it's fine.
Were you
So
able to do any exercise or fitness stuff during this stress?
yeah, a little bit, not enough. I didn't go out running at all. Partially because the trail is just crowded. Like there's this riverside park where I like to go running, and it's just been full of like joggers and walkers and bicyclers and people with their dogs.
Are
So
they wearing masks?
mostly not. No.
Hmm.
So the situation as far as like masks and lockdown and all that in Taiwan is we have to wear masks on the subway, like the public transit, and there are a lot of buildings, especially like larger buildings or malls, that will take your temperature when you go in. And
Wow.
more people than normal are wearing masks outside, but I would say it's maybe 30-40% of people, and not the people that are out exercising.
I mean, what a completely unhackable system taking your temperature. I mean, you could basically, I guess, walk in with some ice packs.
You
And then
could.
how are they taking your temperature? They're not sticking something in your mouth. They're doing it like by one of those
Yeah,
scanning
one of
on your
those
forehead,
like
right?
no contact ones.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
let's say you were super ill, you had a high temperature, but there was some piece of electronic equipment you had to buy. You could
Hmm.
go to the mall with an ice pack, put it on your forehead, then go.
I don't think many people would do that here, but you could. The main thing they're really good
I love
about
how
is
seriously you took that.
the contact tracing. Like that, and like I know of someone that was on a quarantine because he'd just been visiting somewhere else, and he like had one cigarette right outside his apartment, and got fined. Like it was immediately tracked down and fined. And like if your cell phone goes out for like 15 minutes, police will probably be there within the 15 minutes
Oh my gosh,
because like you're being geo-tracked if you're under quarantine.
that's crazy.
So like there's some, yeah, there are definitely some trade-offs that might not work for the US because of privacy concerns. On the other hand, it's pretty minimally invasive.
Well, we
So
went out to feed the ducks the other day, and we were wearing masks, and everyone was wearing masks because basically
yeah,
the recommendation is for everyone in California to just wear masks at all times. And
how fast that changed, huh?
it's just like a an alternate reality. It's really weird. It's like living in Star Wars, you know, with all these Darth Vaders walking around.
It is, yeah. And it's weird for me too, because, it's like for months I was thinking about this and nobody else was. And now it's like, just totally leapfrogged.
Yeah.
But I have seen some good news. I guess it looks like stuff is improving a little in the US, or the rate of getting worse has slowed down at least. So um, that has actually, so sort of related. I've had a pretty weird month on the business side for Alchemist Camp.
Hmm.
My YouTube usage, like the amount of subscribers I'm getting and the amount of time they're spending watching my videos, is way up. And I've also lost MRR for the first time in a while. Had like
So everyone's got nothing to do, everyone's got nothing to do. So they're coming in, they're looking at all your free stuff, they're introducing themselves
yeah,
to Elixir, but they've got no money, so they're not like upgrading.
maybe. I mean, I had like 4 or 5 people churn. I did get a couple new customers as well.
Okay.
And it's a little bit hard for me to tell. Like it might be overdetermined. Like maybe it's because they're, just worried about saving their money and canceling a lot of subscriptions, or maybe also it's because I'm in the middle of a long free series. I've done like 13 free videos in a row, and then soon I'll be doing a paid series. And like the way it's always gone for Alchemist Camp is I used to do like half of a series free, then the second half paid.
Mm-hmm.
And I would get all kinds of like YouTube growth when doing the free part. And then when doing the paid part, I would get growth in paid subscribers.
Mm.
So, and this time I'm doing a whole series free and then a whole series paid after.
So you're trying a different experiment. That's going to be interesting to see whether, because I would have thought that the way that you were doing it, you'd get more paid conversions because people would be like halfway through and they'd be like, oh, dang it. I want to see the rest of this.
I think that's true. Although I also would kind of hate it as a user if that happened every single series.
Yeah.
So I just said, I'm going to do a whole series on LiveView, which is pre 1.0. It's going to be a little messy because I've got to upgrade during it, and that'll all be free. And then I'll do a paid one on this GraphQL library that's popular for Elixir called Absinthe. And then later I'll do a paid one on LiveView after it's 1.0, and that'll be like the more stable, solid, long-term one. So people can still do the free one with the upgrades. It'll just not be as good as the paid one.
Okay.
But they'll get a whole working thing. So one other bit of update is I have launched a second product using your often mentioned structured procrastination strategy.
Yeah.
It's not the analytics thing that I've been talking about the last several weeks, but I have launched a starter template, which is kind of like Laravel Spark or Jumpstart Rails or something like that. In fact, I've been chatting with the guy that made Jumpstart Rails, and he's been super friendly and given some advice. So Chris Oliver is awesome. Everyone probably knows that if they're familiar with his products, but I appreciated that.
But the way you say it doesn't really do it justice, because and the visuals that you sent me made me excited about it. The brand name. So basically, it's called Elixir Igniter. Is that right?
It's called Phoenix Igniter.
Ignite.
Phoenix is the Rails-like framework for Elixir.
Yeah. Phoenix Ignite.
A Phoenix is like, it's in ashes and then it bursts into flames. So Igniter, I thought fit.
But Phoenix,
.com was available.
Igniter or Ignite?
Phoenix Igniter.
Phoenix Igniter. And when I saw it on the page with the logo that you'd done and the general brand, it was just like, yes, that's my favorite thing that you've done as a brand. I
Cool.
think it just sounds exciting. It sounds vibrant, and it looks vibrant, and it just seems like one of those things that you would see on the front page of Product Hunt or Hacker News, and everyone getting excited about it.
I'm hoping that can happen. It may be hard in the Elixir ecosystem, but I'm gonna give it a try.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put it on Indie Hackers also.
And the other thing I was just saying in line is that, you know, in Nugget, what I teach, and this I've seen this to be very true again and again, is that the deeper and more connected something can be, like a product that fits you perfectly as a founder, the more chances of success, like it de-risks. So to the point where, if you're building on previous success and you actually know as a person, I've done something like very similar to this and I've been very successful, and this is like just the next step of that same success, that is the perfect product founder fit. So you've already proven everything about it. You've been successful at doing, you know, within the Elixir space. So and you've already built the audience. I mean, it couldn't be more perfect. It's absolutely perfect. It's exact fit for your audience and exact fit for you.
It's got a lot of overlap, but one thing that's weird about it is, so I've got 54 email signups for it, and something like 35 or 40 of them were signed up on my Alchemist Camp email list. 0 of them are paying customers on Alchemist Camp.
Interesting.
And these are people that signed up and said, let me know when you start selling this. So I think it might even reach like a slightly different group of people that wouldn't pay for Alchemist Camp. Like maybe they don't want to pay every month for lessons, but they also don't want to write their own, you know, auth and
you're taking pain. You're taking, like, look, if someone has to spend hours and hours writing that stuff and then you give it to them for a certain amount, that's a really big, it's classic value proposition.
Yes, I'm pretty excited about it. We'll see,
and I love how structured procrastination got you there, because you just didn't want to do analytics, and you're like,
oh my gosh,
I know I'm supposed to be doing analytics. I'll do this other thing, which is very, very cool.
I think it's maybe the first time I've used that, but hearing you talk about it and then like going back to Nugget last week, it kind of, I don't know, it just sparked me into action.
Yeah. No, I mean, I've had my own structured procrastination, because I don't know, every project, at some point, every project I get like a mental block about, and then I just don't want to do it. And then because I don't want to do it, then I use structured procrastination to do something else. So I've been meaning to do, as we discussed, I don't know, like a month ago, I've been meaning to re-release and relaunch Nugget, but I just couldn't get past the roadblock of not wanting to do it. So then I was working on Taskflow, but then I got to this place where I couldn't work out how to do an effectively good add task screen. I didn't have it in my brain. And so it was like, just the mere thought of sitting down and working out how to do that was so annoying that I was like, okay, it's going to be easier for me to launch Nugget. So then I launched Nugget, and then I started working in Nugget, and I realized, okay, the next thing I should do, going back in mind with our the concept that we had about low resolution, the next thing I should do is pick the 7 best lessons and call that Nugget Bootcamp and make that free. And then that's the new loss leader that I put up on Product Hunt. And so then I started to do that. And then I was like, oh my God, I really don't want to do this. And then that got me back to Taskflow, to building the add task screen, which I've now got done.
There you go.
So structured procrastination both ways.
That's actually a really interesting idea, having like a Nugget bootcamp. Because before it was the nuggets, like the ideas for startups themselves that you were giving away for free, right? Yeah. Or at least some of them.
The idea came because a guy reached out to me. I can't remember his name right now, but he's building a somewhat similar. It's in the similar space. It's basically, I think it's. Oh, that was what it was. It was Painland. Pain.land is his thing, and so he's from Italy, and not that that's relevant, but I'm just trying to hook onto the things I remember about the interaction. So he sent me an email, and he's like, "Hey, I just bumped into Nugget. You know, I thought I should let you know about my thing. Maybe we should like have a chat sometime." So Painland is basically a community website where people can submit different ideas, different pains that they're having, because
Mm.
obviously he's come to that same point where he's realized, ideas don't matter, it's pain points that matter. Anyway, we had a back and forth, and he sent me about 7 different ideas that he was thinking about
Mm-hmm.
doing. So I was like, oh my God, I can't get into all of this. Like, I just need to give him the essential components of the Nugget course. And so I
Mm-hmm.
went through them and found 7 pages. And I'm like, yeah, if he reads this, then it's going to help him pick the right idea.
Then you realize, like, oh, those same 7 would be useful for a lot of people.
Exactly. That's exactly. And I don't think that I'm not sure that he's going to actually read those pages. Like, I heard nothing from him since then. Because, when you give people unsolicited advice, they're like, I don't know, I didn't ask for this. But
Yeah, I do that a lot. I'm trying not to as much, but
yeah, but so I'm not too stressed about that. But the interaction was really valuable because it helped me. It helped me, like, with a gun to the head. I'm like, okay, what 7 things should I send to this guy so that if he reads them, it's going to make him pick the right thing. And I'm
yeah.
like, yeah, that's actually so these 7 things are good, but it doesn't take away the value of Nugget, because Nugget is this it's this immersive, complete process that is a long time. So it's exactly what you said, which is it's the low resolution version of the course.
Mm-hmm.
And so if that's free and that's available for everyone to go through,
And
then
it
that's
gets
actually kind of
some
cool.
results, then
It gets me a result because it's free, and I can put it on Product Hunt, and it can be the Nugget Bootcamp. I can tell everyone this is what you should do first. So that means when they do the real Nugget, even though it's high resolution, it doesn't matter because they already did the low resolution version.
yeah. Well, I think with the exception of 30 by 500, just about everything I've bought that wasn't really cheap, I'd already gotten something for free or very cheap from the same people that was
Yeah,
useful for me. And then I was like, oh, I want more of that.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, and so that's what it would be. But now I've talking it through with my wife, and that would be a faster path to money.
Mm-hmm.
But just talking it through with Georgie, we've decided that probably the best thing for me to focus on is Taskflow, for all the reasons that
Really?
I previously said. Because even if I do put that out and it did get 2,000 people and I did get a couple of hundred customers, it would end up in, like a 50 grand bump or something like that. But
Mm-hmm.
it's not sustained revenue. It's
Right.
not sustained and ongoing revenue. And it's not really building the true life-changing business that we need yet.
Makes
So
sense.
what I should do is Taskflow, begin to get that sustained revenue, then circle back to Nugget and probably just make it completely free and do that other the low resolution piece. So I think
Okay.
Nugget's going to end up not being a
So it's
moneymaker.
kind of like moving the free line, I think is what I've heard that called.
I just think that the reason why I'm doing Nugget is not to make money. I'm doing Nugget to help
Yeah.
entrepreneurs. That's basically the point.
Well, I think if you help a lot of entrepreneurs get what they want, that will almost definitely make you money long term.
Yeah, yeah, I
It's
think so.
yeah. So that's interesting. That's a pretty bold plan. Like basically making it so this first part is free, and then eventually the whole thing.
Yeah, I think Nugget
Although
should generally speaking, be a resource for entrepreneurs to help them be
I
successful.
I think once I can afford to, I want to lower the prices on Alchemist Camp as well. Because I think, like a lot of the churn is because it's fairly expensive. Like it's worth that if you like really need help figuring something out. But, maybe you don't want to keep paying $20 a month once you're not like in the middle of problem at work or something.
Yeah,
So
it's sort of differentiate, like it's working out the why. Why am I doing this business? Why am I doing this? Why am I doing this business? Why am I doing this?
mhm.
So at what point that's what's a bit confusing about doing something that's both altruistic and revenue generating.
That's really hard. Yeah.
Do you think of Alchemist Camp as altruistic or just revenue generating?
I think it definitely helps people, and I think I think it also helps the Elixir community and that kind of thing. Because I've got 130 videos or something on YouTube that are free and shared with everyone. However, doing like by helping people for free, it's also generating goodwill, which, as I like to say, doesn't get taxed ever. So it just, keeps accumulating. And that is helping me sell the paid stuff. So I guess it's like, I guess in a real sense, my own incentives are really aligned with what's good for other people too. The only, I mean, I guess the main point of tension is just pricing. It's like, how much do I charge what I charge for? And so far I've decided to go the route of making a lot of stuff free, more than any of my competitors by far. And then when I do charge, I charge more than any of the competitors.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Not a ton more, but like 25% more.
There's something else that I wanted to tell you, that a huge realization that I had about Nugget, that might be playing subconsciously into all these decisions. So with this new batch that I've launched, there's already 9 people in there. And I've noticed with the last few batches, the relationship that I have with those people is completely different. So
Really?
in the first few batches, like the first 4 batches, the relationship was very hands-on, they wanted to speak to me. We had a lot of discussions, a lot of communication, and became friends. But in the last few batches, especially, and this is becoming, more pronounced as the batches go by, I try and reach out to them and they're just like, no, I don't want to speak to you. I'm doing the course. You don't need to speak to me. Essentially,
Leave me alone. I'm busy learning from you.
So, I was trying to think, like, why is that? And then what I realized is it's the technology adoption curve. All the first people who got involved in Nugget came through those routes of knowing that it was a beta product, knowing that I didn't know exactly what I was doing, and that they kind of wanted to help and be part of that process. And there wasn't very much, visible proof of it. It didn't really exist. So they wanted to be
early
part
adopter
of that.
types.
They were early adopter types. But now when you go into Nugget, when you go through the journey, you can see that there's like 60 people there, and there's all their pictures and there's all the projects that they've made. So the people who are making the buying choices now are like, this looks like a legit thing. And I'm here to learn. I'm here to buy this. It's not about building a personal relationship or being an early adopter. So, and which has a knock-on effect of changing how the product should ideally be for that kind of person, because it's not optimized for that level of scale, for that level of person. So that's the other problem with Nugget, and the other reason why I didn't want to do the course of bringing in the next 2,000 people in, because it isn't really optimized for scale. It's set up for early adopter experience. It's not set up for scaled experience.
So what would change? Like what would the Nugget for this new group of people be like?
Well, there would be a lot more interactive stuff like Speak. So like there would just be a lot more hand holding and videos and creating the personal connection through the videos and the help, because a lot of the nuance in the material, I just was talking with people one-on-one. But this means this. But you don't need to. But that kind of needs to be baked into the actual full product. So that's pretty much what it would be. So that's another reason why I didn't really want to bring in another couple of thousand people, because it's not exactly ready for that type of person.
I have to think about similar stuff with my new product, the starter template, because people that are buying that likely don't spend a lot of time watching my YouTube videos.
Yeah.
They're not commenting. They're not sending me questions on Twitter. They're probably people who just want a one-off transaction. They want to buy something and they want to use it to speed up their development. So as a result, I need to build out like a big docs page where I have, documentation on every single thing the thing provides, and give an experience. It's more like, more like just what if you're looking at a framework,
Every customer can't be your friend, and that might be a good show title.
Every customer can't be your friend.
Yeah,
that's not bad.
Yeah,
that's not bad.
But that's really what that's the next level of where a product gets to.
Yeah. Cool. Well, do you want to go over some visual stuff?
Yeah, I'd like to do screen share and show you what I've got with Taskflow. Let me just find this here. There's my, but that
Your,
this
your
is
blood
my
info. Well, while we're here, what's
abysmal blood numbers. Now that's 2 weeks, but if I show you 1 week, oh man, yeah,
so
64%.
So this week's worse than last.
Yeah, but well, yeah, pretty
What are
much.
you eating?
Well, it's because of the. I told you it's the fat. It's just the fat, basically.
Wow.
So it's the what's the name of that stuff that the fat promotes? Triglycerides.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. It's essentially the triglycerides in the blood, and you can research this triglyceride effect on insulin resistance. There's been a number of studies done on this that show that triglycerides essentially get in the way of insulin binding with sugar. So you eat. So when you have, but I think this is especially if you're type 2 diabetic, this effect becomes way more pronounced. When you have a lot of triglycerides floating around in your blood, and then you have a little bit of sugar, the triglycerides cannot bond to the sugar, and so therefore the sugar stays there, and then a little bit more, and it just keeps on grow. And so even though you're eating very little sugar, it has this pronounced effect overall, this sort of compound effect over multiple days.
It's like a feedback loop that takes extra effort to break.
But ironically, if I then go ahead and go 0 fat and just eat like oatmeal, rice, like I get these big spikes, but then it goes right down to like a 120 because the insulin becomes super effective again. So it's just really what I'm trying to come to grips with now is how to stick with the veggie stuff that I told you about, how to stick with kind of high carb stuff like oatmeal, and just how to never have any fat. It's really difficult to just not have fat. It's such a nice thing to have, in like a mayo or an oil or something like that.
That would be harder for me to give up than sugar for sure.
Yeah.
That's,
but what I've found as very impossible is to do high fat and almost no sugar. I found that even harder.
High fat and almost no sugar.
Yeah.
I have a German friend that I met in Chiang Mai. He was actually I think the very first paid customer for Alchemist Camp. And he is on one of those just total keto diets. And whenever he goes in for whatever his blood work checkups are, they're like, well, according to some of these metrics, you should be dead, but you have super low blood sugar and zero blockage anywhere.
That's bizarre.
Well, it's a bizarre diet. Not as bizarre as my favorite podcaster that I shared with you, though, Lex Friedman.
No, tell me.
He's doing a McCarnivore diet.
McCarnivore?
Yes, as in he's only eating meat, which has gotten really this weird niche popularity the last year. But he's broke because he quit his MIT lab job that was paying him money. And he's working on a startup, so he's just eating meat and all of it from McDonald's.
Oh my gosh.
He just buys the quarter pounders and throws away everything but the meat.
That is a really bad diet, in my opinion.
Yeah. he looks like he's under 30, so maybe he'll be okay, but yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that's what I said.
All right, so I'm just going to quickly. So you've already seen, this other stuff.
Yeah.
But what I'm just going to show you now is the add task. So I'm only just got the core of it. I don't have the strategies in yet. But my favorite thing that I've got, so first of all, if I click this little plus button, that brings it up. So there we go, add task. And then I can hit add. Oh no, that's going to do an error. If I hit return, adds it, task added. Okay. So now, but what I've tied in, because it's super important for me, is the keyboard shortcut stuff. So now everything is a Shift Command K to initiate keyboard shortcuts. Because as far as I can tell, Shift Command K is not used by any browser. So they do Shift Command K and then the keyboard shortcut. So just go back to here.
Shift Command K. So you're using it as like a chord.
Yeah. So Shift Command K is like, yeah, that's like you do that chord. In other words, K standing for you're about to hit a key.
Yep.
Yep. And then so let's say, add tasks. So, well, I'll just do mode. So to switch between light and dark, so Shift Command K and then M. Right? So Shift Command K.
Ah, nice.
And I'm going to just make everything shortcut based. So Shift Command K, A. That adds a task. Then I can do this. And then if I do Shift Enter, it adds a task plus one more. So Shift Enter, add task. And now give me another one.
Have you seen how GitHub does it?
No, I haven't.
If you go to GitHub and then you press a question mark,
yeah,
it'll just pop up this little modal overlay with all the keyboard shortcuts.
Oh, cool. Yeah. Oh, that's a good idea. I'll do that.
I think
yeah, that's
I
nice.
think a number of products do that, and like theirs is really pretty slick. But if you don't know about it, it never impacts you or gets in your way at all.
You. So I don't know whether you saw that, but the escape key works, so I can just basically click into this and press escape to get out. And so I just want to be able to just navigate this entire thing by keys, because that's obviously the fastest way of working.
Yeah.
And that's something that I don't get in a big ass text file,
Yeah.
So that's going to be super easy. So the next piece that I have to do is to actually make it add tasks. And I'm not quite sure what's going to happen to the tasks when it adds them. Like, does it sort of give you a visual list of them so you can click into them? And then also, I guess I need to add, let me just show you here. Click into mockups.
Do you have a shortcut for that site?
Yeah.
That was really quick too.
Yeah. So I'm going to put this little plus button here in the pop-up, and the plus button is going to give you the capability of adding strategies. So, this type of thing. And then that's when I'm going to start encountering the problems that we were talking about the last time. We were talking about Taskflow, which is, okay, is this going to be an individual strategy-based thing? How's this going to work? Yeah. But I do think that it's going to be individual strategy-based thing. So with your
That's what you've been saying from the beginning.
Yeah. So what do I have here? So let's have a look at next wins. Yeah, so here's this task, structure procrastination, 79. Next win. So here, I need to highlight that more. Yeah. So I think this will be really useful when it gets to this level where I've picked my next wins and I can see, okay, this is a structure procrastination. This is a for the win. This is an eat the frog. And I'll be able to know exactly about those and drag them and reorder them. But yeah.
So what does eat the frog mean again?
Eat the frog means do the thing of all the things, it's the thing you want to do the least.
Okay. Yeah. So it's not related to boiling the frog.
No.
All right.
Yeah. So, and I've gone backwards and forwards about whether the first line should allow a new line and be like have new lines basically. And I've realized it just shouldn't. It should just be a title, and it should not have new lines. So, and that just makes it easier, generally speaking, because then, when you're adding a task, you just kind of open your add task window, you do something, and then you can just go bam, and then just add the next task.
Yeah, kind of saving people from themselves.
Yeah, and then if you need to do that, it's down in this area where you can change that around. So cool. Yeah, so that's sort of where I'm at with that, and that's cool. I guess let me just quickly show you Nugget, that latest batch.
Yeah, I was curious how that went.
So wait,
you said 9 people?
Click into batches. So here we have. So these are all the batches, and this is what I'm talking about. Like, so when people come to Nugget now, they sort of go through this founders thing, and they're like, yeah, this is legit. This is a real thing.
Some people are making progress. Yeah.
Yeah. So then we click into batches. There's nine members so far.
Huh. Not bad. Are most of the batches about that size, or is it changed?
No, well, I mean, it's what I specify, but sometimes I let more people in, sometimes I don't. I don't. But right now, I've got it set up so it's just a roll low. I'm just leaving it open so people can just keep on coming in and joining. When that hits 10, then the 11th person, it'll create a new Apollo 7 batch. That'll go down here. So it's just going to limit it to
I
10
see.
people from now on. Yeah.
I see. Neat. Neat.
Yeah.
All right. Cool. Well, let me. You got any other stuff to show, or should I?
No, I don't. So so then we'll talk about the goals next at the end of it. How are we going to do that?
I'll share a couple things, and then we can stop screen sharing, and I'll talk
And
about
then we'll
a
talk about the
mental
goals.
model, and then goals.
It's going to be a little bit out of context then for the person hearing the goals, because I'm just going to say, I guess I'll just say, okay, this is what my goals for Taskflow next week.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
All right. So I'm taking the screen.
Please do.
All right. So here is my StatWatch thing that keeps track of my YouTube subscribers and Twitter followers and all that. And you can see I've put out one video from Alchemist Camp the last week and gained like 40 subscribers and like 8 followers on Twitter, which is a ton for me. My normal month, I gain 98 subscribers on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
This like past 28 days, it's been 124 subscribers. Like the amount of views, the watch time, like all of the metrics are considerably up. My revenue, unfortunately, is not like that. You can see it kind of like rounded a bend the past month, and I am basically $2 ahead of where I was at the end of January. So it's not ideal.
Wow.
The new project, Phoenix Igniter, is here. So this is my logo, which I'm very happy about. It's this Phoenix just lifting out of the ashes and taking flight. These are the things I'm promising everybody. This is my email sign up for it. It's really been pretty. It's been a pretty drastic change in direction for how I released this, because I had been working on something way more general, way more complicated. I was going to have this whole Rust-based CLI written so that people could say, generate me a starting point for an app with just a REST API, or generate it with a GraphQL API, or do it with Phoenix Live View or without Phoenix Live View, or with just a zillion different options at every level. And then I realized I was probably never going to launch it if I kept going that way. So I just decided it's going to be one option. On my email sign up progress, I've got 54 subscribers for Igniter. And I made a special segment on ConvertKit so I can see who is on that list and not on Alchemist Camp list. So I guess it's 12 must have just come in from Twitter or something, and the other 38 were subscribed on the Alchemist Camp email list, but not paying customers.
And how long has that been live, that page?
2 days.
This is.
I tweeted it though.
So this is part of Nugget is to build a landing page like this and get people to sign up to a list. And it's the first part of validation. And I can tell you that just on the fact that you've barely shown this to anyone, it's been up for 2 days and you've got 58 people subscribing.
Oh, okay. One other thing though is I wrote an email to my email list. So that went out to 2,350 people in Alchemist Camp. And it looks like 40% opened it, 278 clicks, and I bet 127 of those clicks were to Phoenix Igniter, and that turned into 38 subscribers. The other 12 though were from my tweet, I guess.
Oh, I think it pertains to something good here. This is good.
Yeah, I hope so.
I just like the brand is great. I love that Phoenix Igniter brand. I love it. It's you know what I love about it? It's not square. It's very curvy. It's very almost organic. How did you get the logo? Where'd you get it?
The logo
Yeah.
on Fiverr.
Yeah, it's good. It's really good.
I said, like, I said, these are the colors I want. I want it to look like a phoenix rising from ashes, and went through like one revision, and that was it. So,
And then the like the landscape, the purple landscape again, just great. It's just organic. Feels good. I know you haven't done too much with the lower part of the page, but the part that's actually designed looks great.
yeah. This was just a default ConvertKit
Yeah.
template.
Yeah.
I picked the closest one to the general feel. So, yeah, that's the stuff that I've got to show. So I guess mental model.
Shoot.
All right. Let me stop sharing then. If I can
So mental
figure out how
model
to
is
do
for
that.
audio portion.
Yeah, I think
Nice.
so.
Okay, cool.
So the mental model that I've got this week is it's one from Gabriel Weinberg's new book, and it's actually just a basic economic idea, which is comparative advantage. And the idea of that is it's basically like the reason for doing trade. Like if one person or group is better at one thing, and a different person or group is better at a different thing, obviously it makes sense. Like, say, you're good at doing designs and your friend Jason is good at writing algorithms. You will do better if you make the design for something, he does the algorithms, than vice versa. The thing that's interesting, though, is comparative advantage isn't just about your absolute advantage. Like, you could actually be in a place where, say, working as a farmer, you're less productive than an American farmer, and working as a biology researcher, you're also less productive. But the gap is larger for being a biology researcher than being a farmer. So everybody still makes money if you do the farming and then trade your food to Americans in exchange for biology research, like in a super, super simple example. So what you want to do, like this would be, like a free trade advocate would say for a country, but it's also super true for a person. What you would want to do is find the thing where you have more of an advantage in comparison to how much of an advantage you have versus other people at doing other things. So this is partially why I decided to do the Phoenix Igniter project. And that's because maybe somebody else is better at making the project than I am. And maybe they're better than me at lots of different things. But I do have one advantage, which is I already have an audience of people that are interested in learning Elixir. And a lot of people trust me for that and are more likely to be interested in this starter template that I can release. So even if it's not the one thing I'm best at, and even if it's not something I'm better at than everyone else, it's very possible that I have a massive comparative advantage doing this versus spending my same time, making new software from scratch, or making
The
making a
analytics thing.
template
Yeah.
for Rails developers, or even the analytics thing. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's sort of, in a way, it's similar somewhat to the product founder fit stuff we were talking about before.
Yeah,
It's
sure
like
thing.
it's right for you. So yeah, that's good. I like that idea of comparative advantage, and it's also, even though it might be negative, it could still be an advantage. I like that.
Yeah, because the sad thing is, like, if like, say you're comparing yourself to like Leonardo da Vinci, who is an amazing artist, amazing scientist, really good athlete when he was young. Maybe you'll just feel horrible and not do anything. But then again, you might realize there are things you can do which are valuable that are not the best use of his time, and he's not going to be doing them competing against you. So same thing with, like, if you're a little bootstrapper, like, maybe Google can do everything better than you can. It's very possible, but they won't because, a lot of things are small enough that it's not worth their time.
Yeah, it's not worth their time.
Yeah.
But also something that's really difficult for them to do is to get a product out quickly. So
Yeah. Or customer support.
Yeah. Customer support they can't do.
I saw the scariest thing on YouTube or on Hacker News, which is someone's YouTube channel. The entire channel was disabled by accident.
Yeah.
And they didn't have anything like remotely close to like hate speech or anything pornographic. It was actually like some economics geek, and they had mostly been talking about basic income, and the whole channel was disabled by accident.
And they got it back from social media.
They got to the top of Hacker News, and lots of Googlers read.
That's what I was saying to you. That's what I was saying to you. Like for you to do to your case, I've seen that happen
with a bank.
Yeah,
okay.
I've seen that happen with Hacker News a number of times, where it gets to the top of Hacker News, and then that fixes the problem because that's enough attention.
Yeah, well, Twitter does it too. Like there was a guy, Chris Hawks, that made a bunch of tutorials on YouTube, and then someone just stole them and started selling them on Udemy. And he talked to Udemy tech support or Udemy customer support. They ignored him, like nothing happening. Then he got to the top of Reddit, and Udemy like instantly like apologized and gave him back all the money the other person had made and all that.
Wow.
Yeah. If customer support sucks, like sometimes social media is the only way.
So what are your goals for next week?
Let's see. So I don't have a goal as far as the number of licenses I want to sell for my starter template, but I want to get in a good amount of work on it, which I guess I'll quantify as saying I want to make at least I want to make at least say 8 components, like 8 Tailwind CSS components for it. And what else? Record at least 1 video for Alchemist Camp, and make it to the government office and submit all my documents on Friday morning.
Nice. That's pretty good. Any fitness goals? Go for a couple of runs?
No, I feel exhausted.
Too much other stuff.
I'm going to take a week off.
All right. Well, my goals are, I want to stay 70% above, keep my blood sugar in range for over 70% for 7 days between now and then. To give you an example, I was 64% over the last 7 days. So that would be a 6% improvement, So I just want to get over that 70%. Then so that's my health stuff. Then, oh, by the way, I got down to my lowest weight today.
Nice.
214.
Not bad.
Yeah, it's just never thought it would happen. But anyway, 214, that's crazy. So I'm just going to keep on doing what I'm doing regarding with the vegetables and the general way that I'm eating. And it's interesting that even though my blood sugar's bad, I'm still sort of in a good losing weight place.
It seems like that's going to have a positive effect long term, no matter what.
Yeah. So with Taskflow, I guess I've got the add task screen. So now I need to actually make it put tasks into the database and then list them in some way. And I might even possibly start looking at integrating the strategy stuff. But at a minimum, you can actually enter tasks and view them and sort of, type in some notes about them. That's what it's going to be. Yeah.
That'd be a big step.
Yeah, I think so. Because then I can start dog fooding it for reals.
Right. Yeah. Oh, I remember one other goal. Sorry.
Sure.
So remember that thing about handling cancellations so that I don't terminate don't terminate subscriptions until the end of their billing cycle.
Yeah.
Turns out that's kind of a pain because I need to upgrade my Stripe API versions.
Oh.
So I used a hack. So basically, I'm manually canceling people at the end of their cycle now.
Oh, okay, that's a good plan.
And what I want to do for next week though is get the upgrade done. It used to be you could cancel at end of cycle, but that's removed from the API, and you use a totally different call now. So
Oh, okay.
that's why I got to upgrade.
Yeah. Okay.
So
All right.
that's pretty much it.
Cool.
All right. Well, see you next week then.
See you then. Over and out.
Yes.